Penta. This is WICR.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe back in action, and it's time to break down some NBA news. I mean, let's be honest, last night was an awful set of NBA games. I mean, just Thursday you had Denver and Memphis. I like Memphis, but if that's your headline game, you're doing something wrong. You did have the Lakers beating the Chicago Bulls. I mean, I kind of thought that was going to happen. They beat Golden State, then it's just a perfect setup trap game that they would lose then to the Lakers. But the bigger news, the 2015 NBA AllStar reserves. Now, I didn't have that many problems with these starters. I thought the fans did a pretty good job with the starters, aside from one or two. I mean, I did think that there's no way Kobe should have been there, but I understand why he was there. But he's hurt, so obviously James Harden will take his spot. And I thought Carmelo Anthony was just a joke to put him there. I mean, with the way things have gone for the Knicks, playing a little bit better, coming back down to earth last night, getting blown out by Indiana, but I just think having him there is, to be quite honest, an embarrassment. But with the reserves, again, not too bad. I thought with the East, you have Jeff Teague. He has been phenomenal. He's had his best season as a pro by far, largely responsible for how well Atlanta has played this year. Kyrie Irving, I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, at SportsVaultIona, I can't say enough about how well Kyrie has played. Coming off a 55-point game, 11 of 19 from three-point line. The guy's been outstanding. I mean, he has just taken over as a player in this league. I mean, LeBron said in his letter, I think I could make Kyrie one of the best point guards in our league, and he has. He's just so good on both sides of the ball. He's so good with situational awareness. Very, very willing to be here. Jimmy Butler. I voted for Jimmy Butler to be a starter in this game. I really did. He's changed everything for the Chicago Bulls. So one of the best two-way players in our league now. Defensively, he's always been very good, and he's added the offensive component to his game. He's really been a big part of the success of the Bulls. Now, the Bulls haven't been great at all times this year, but he's been very consistent. Dwayne Wade, now Dwayne Wade's one of these ones where it's just a fan thing, I think. Does Wade really deserve to be an all-star this year? Probably not. He won't be playing this game because he's resting up. He's a little banged up. But I just think Dwayne Wade, I mean, look, he's kind of dramatic. He's falling apart before our eyes. I mean, when he was young, the way he just played, you just kind of could see it. He was taking a lot of, he lived on the floor. He lived at the rim. He was constantly getting banged around, and I think now we're kind of seeing him deteriorate a little bit. But Dwayne Wade, it's been a great career. Just for me, not an all-star this year. Paul Millsap, I really could care less about this one, to be quite honest. He's been good. I don't know, all-star good. The Hawks have just been phenomenal, so that's probably part of it. But he has been good. I could live without him, to be honest, though. Al Horford, been phenomenal. One of the most dynamic big men in the game. Now, the thing about the NBA now is you can't just be a one-dimensional center who all you do is play around the basket. We're seeing more and more now in the NBA that you've got to be very, very diverse in your skill set. We see it with guys like LaMarcus Aldridge and Chris Bosh. Now, they're more power forwards, but still, if you have size today in the NBA, you've got to be able to make plays away from the basket. It's what guys like Dwight Howard can't do. Al Horford can. He can make shots from around the paint. I think Horford is very dimensional, very deserving to be here. Chris Bosh, I voted for as well. I'm happy he made it here. Now, I didn't know if he would because he did miss some extended time because of being injured. The Heat have had a very up and down season, very inconsistent, but I thought Bosh has played very well. I just think the Heat kind of are having an identity crisis. I mean, their defense is there, it's not there. Who's the go-to scorer sometimes? Who's getting them the other production they need? A lot of questions for the Heat, but I thought Bosh has played very well. The thing I always like from him is he always preaches, it's defense first. I know my offense will come. My defense is what's got to come first, and I think that's always something he brings to the table. Very dimensional. There's not another big man, maybe aside from LaMarcus Aldridge, but even him not as much, who has as much range as Chris Bosh. He's just so lethal because with his size, he could drive to the basket, he could hit threes, he could hit the mid-range shots, he could just kill you any way on the basketball court. Very deserving to be an all-star. Now, we'll go to the West, and I'll just start off with this. The biggest snub for me by far is Damian Lillard. Now, the West was extremely difficult because there are just so many point guards in the West who are worthy of being here. I mean, you could just go deep. I mean, the top 8 teams in the West, you could probably make a legitimate case that all 8 of their point guards deserve to be all-stars in this game. But Chris Paul is there. Now, Chris Paul, most people consider the best point guard in our league. I would say I probably wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, he's definitely not as much. He's more of your traditional point guard. I mean, we see now in the NBA, you have guys like Kyrie Irving, Russell Westbrook, much more scoring-oriented, aggressive point guards. He's more of a floor general, kind of like your traditional point guard, but still as effective as anybody of leading an offense and setting up the team. But Chris Paul, you can never go wrong with. But you just look at the numbers for Damian Lillard. You look at what he's done for this Portland Trailblazers team. Now, they have fallen off a little bit, but I think for the most part, the guy has just been outstanding. He's become such a much better player. He's every year. I mean, I think that's the thing you want to see with the young guys. Is he getting better? And that's one thing you can absolutely see easily with Damian Lillard is he's a better offensive player. He's taken a much bigger step off defensively. And I just think everything you see with him has just been phenomenal. I'm a little disappointed. I voted for him. I would have if I did because, I mean, Chris Paul for me, Clippers have been good, not as great, and not as consistent as we're normally used to seeing. Lillard, I think, has been phenomenal. I mean, 21.8 points, 4.6 rebounds, 6.2 assists, and 1.3 steals per game this season. The only guys who can really come close to that are Stephen Curry, James Harden. And, I mean, the two of them are all-stars. I just still don't understand why Lillard wasn't. A little bit upsetting to me, but you got to get over it. I mean, it's really not the end of the world. For me, it's kind of funny, too, because, I mean, the NBA All-Star Game for me is really the only All-Star Game, aside from baseball, where I'm really interested in watching it. The NFL Pro Bowl could care less. The NHL All-Star Game, But you go with the NBA All-Star Game, the festivities they have there, I'm kind of into it. I think it's kind of fun. But let's keep on moving. Then you had Russell Westbrook. Now, Russell Westbrook's just fun to watch. He really is. I mean, there was a lot of backlash earlier in his career about he's taking shots away from Durant. I think he's learned a lot better to play with him. But the Thunder are just in a desperate fight right now, really trying to work their way up the ladder in the Western Conference. Durant out the last 2 games certainly has not helped. They did lose to the Knicks, which was a surprising loss. I thought they would still win that game. So Westbrook, he's figuring it out. I think the fans like him because of his flashy game. I have no problem with him being in this game. James Harden should have been a starter. He's the next one. He will be because of Kobe Bryant. I mean, look, he's not the best defender, but he reminds me so much of Dwayne Wade early in his career because the two of them just live at the free throw line. They're so aggressive at the basket. He is a better shooter than Dwayne Wade in his career. Definitely, Dwayne Wade really has become more of a perimeter shooter later in his career. Even now, he's started being more of a threat at the three-point line. Still not a huge threat, but he can make them. James Harden has just always been a great shooter. He really is. He's a very, very good offensive player. Needs to work on his defense to get to the next level. Klay Thompson is next. Klay Thompson, I think, had to be on this list. Klay Thompson's been phenomenal. I mean, look, the emphatic kind of symbol he had to be in this game was the other week where he had the 37 points in the third quarter against Sacramento. Just unbelievable. I think there's not a player who's more fun to watch shoot the basketball than Klay Thompson. If I was trying to teach people the form to shoot the basketball, I would just show them a videotape of Klay Thompson because he has picture-perfect form. He's just such a good offensive player, such a good shooter, really fun to watch, really excited he's in this game. Kevin Durant was in here too. Now, I felt kind of funny not putting him as a starter, even with the time he missed because he is the second-best player in the league. He is unbelievable. He has to be on this team somewhere. Kevin Durant, you can't say enough about how good the guy is. Now, next is LaMarcus Aldridge. I voted for Aldridge over Blake Griffin to be in the starting lineup. I think Aldridge, you look at him right now, I mean, playing with his injury, not taking the surgery, opting to play for his team. I don't see a major drop-off in play. I really don't. I watched the game yesterday against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, the guy was unbelievable. Almost had 40 points, had 10 rebounds. It's not affecting his game that much. And kind of like I was saying with Chris Bosh, when you look at big men today in the NBA, it's all about what can you do, how versatile are you. And LaMarcus Aldridge is extremely versatile for his size. He's very comfortable. He's really good kind of faking you out, hitting shots, not threes. I mean, he did against the Cleveland Cavaliers, which was a little surprising. He did hit 2 threes, and so he's a threat to do that. But he's got range. He's just too tough to stop at the basket. He just does everything you would want out of a power forward. Plays a lot like Chris Bosh, phenomenal player. And then, of course, the last one, Tim Duncan. You got to get him involved somehow. I mean, just the ageless classic, the guy who we never seem to talk about with the other people, but I mean, just a guy who has meant so much to this game, has always done things the right way. You've got to always find a way to get Timmy in here somehow. I've got no problem with it as well. Very happy to have Tim Duncan in here. But that is going to do it for your 2015 NBA All-Star rosters. Right now, I mean, the NBA is kind of taking a back seat because of everything else. We got the Super Bowl. Once the Super Bowl dies down a little bit, the NBA will really start to come back into the picture. And once the All-Star game comes around, it's just full running, all steam ahead to the NBA Finals, which will be very exciting. The key, though, is what's going to happen with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Can they sustain this play right now? LeBron James sat out the last game. Kyrie Irving has come into his own. And right now we see it's a dynamic duo with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kyrie Irving is transformed. He's just one of the most effective players in this game. LeBron being back, his presence changes everything. And I think David Blatt is figuring it out. Now, I didn't like all this. David Blatt needs to go. I always thought, let's take a deep breath. Let's let him try to figure it out. He's a smart guy. He's a very good basketball mind. He will figure it out eventually. Now, he did seem to start to be doing that, and then things went downhill. They're going back uphill, running full force. I think if they got to sustain it, they've shown what they can do on the defensive end. The recent moves that they pulled off are working out outstandingly. Timothy Mozgov is changing the face of this game, of this team. J.R. Smith has played very well. Amon Shumpert giving them what they need on the defensive end. I think things are working out well for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how they continue to play. They are playing the Timberwolves tonight. Kevin Love making the trip back to Minnesota. I mean, they don't have a big fan base. I don't know if they'll boo him. I hope not. I mean, he hasn't done great with Cleveland, which I'm sure they're happy about. But the Timberwolves stink. They really do. Andrew Wiggins has played a lot better. Really enjoying watching his development. But I think the Cavs will continue the winning streak, get another one. That is going to do it for this NBA segment. Stay with us, and we will be back soon.